Dead center of a small, round table, sat the most horribly foreboding fishbowl Iwaizumi had ever encountered in his life. Inside were dozens and dozens of slips of paper, all folded in half to conceal whatever horrors awaited. Iwaizumi thought it looked like the sort of thing that might bite his hand off if he was stupid enough to reach inside, all jagged shadows at sharp angles like teeth from the pair of studio lights overhead fighting it out with another close to the camera. A less experienced man might compare the fishbowl to a heaping of fortune cookie fortunes, but Iwaizumi knew better even before he caught sight of the slightly crooked but no less foreboding sticker on the front of it. Iwaizumi Hajime reads thirst tweets. Iwaizumi didn't know what a thirst tweet was, and he did not want to. Nothing good would come from that fishbowl. He felt it in his bones. Excuse me, I agreed to do the Google autocorrect challenge, not. Wrinkles scrunched Iwaizumi's nose. Whatever thirst tweets are. Is that like a story? I don't have air quotes, the gram anymore. Autocomplete interview. The director corrected with a bored annoyance of someone who had been warned and chose not to listen to his right. A tired assistant juggled 3 clipboards trying and failing to get his attention. And we can't say Google. Iwaizumi's eyes narrowed. Yahoo! Yippee! Aikawa said, taking a seat on the other stool. He propped one foot on the footrest, but was so tall the other rested comfortably on the floor. We're filming a few things today, this is just the first. We'll do the autocomplete thing after, then one more, something about taking quizzes to see which character from the show we are. I'm Iwaizumi. But maybe not, deep in your soul. We just don't know until we take the quiz. Iwaizumi hated doing press for exactly this reason. The filming was always twice as long as they told him, and there was always something weird and embarrassing snuck in somewhere under the philosophy that asking for forgiveness was easier than asking for approval. Like the time they made him answer questions about himself on the internet, or when he had to go correct his own Wikipedia article, or that interview with the water balloons. Though Iwaizumi was still convinced Oikawa made that entire thing up. It had never even been posted online, and none of the entire rest of the cast had been subjected to the disrespect of being doused in water on camera. Are you at least doing this, too? Where are your thirst tweets? Whatever the hell that meant. Iwaizumi had long given up on understanding the slang, best to just accept the weird names for things with confidence. He was already far too much of the meme, without throwing more gasoline on the fire. Nah, this one is all you, Iwe-chan. So then why are there 2 stools? I negotiated for a front row seat. Every word out of Oikawa's mouth was more ominous than the last. That doesn't seem fair. Why am I the only one picking tweets out of a fishbowl? Iwaizumi asked. Oikawa is more popular by far. The guy's a professional volleyball player. He could easily fill at least 3 fishbowls if Iwaizumi was deserving of one. I don't know why I don't get any. Ask management. I'm not happy about it, either. Aikawa added, sounding like he was, in fact, unbearably pleased. Sometimes, blunt and direct was the only effective way to communicate with Oikawa. Why are you really here? Emotional support. That was kind of sweet. Actually, Iwaizumi's bullshit radar went berserk. Something terrible was about to happen. A staff milling around with her eyes glued to her phone, pretending like she wasn't paying attention, hide a giggle behind her hand. No, you're planning something. What is it? Nothing. Aikawa held both hands up, surrender plain on his face. I'm just trying to be a good friend and boyfriend. You're being weird and suspicious. Am not. We're ready to go whenever you are. A voice cut in before Oikawa could devolve into outright name-calling. Sorry. Iwaizumi offered what he hoped came across as an apologetic smile to the crew, and the show's press liaison standing next to the camera, looking amused but ready to get on with it. Iwaizumi sympathized. I'm ready. Aikawa crossed his legs and planted his elbow on his knee, cheek cradled in his palm. Something rapturous and anticipatory twitched along his lip. He stared directly at Iwaizumi's face unblinkingly, uncomfortably. I'm ready, too. Well, as long as you're ready. Iwaizumi drawled. He took a breath and squared his shoulders. Right, how bad could it be? 30 minutes of mild embarrassment, tops, and then they'd move on to the Yahoo autocorrect thing. The director counted off the mark and signaled for Iwaizumi to begin. Hi everyone, I'm Iwaizumi Hajime and I'm here too. God, Iwaizumi should have at least found out what any of these individual words meant before trying to string them all together. I'm here to read thirst tweets? The noise erupting from Oikawa had Iwaizumi strongly considering getting up and walking out of this closet-sized studio. Get in the car, go home, pack up his life and move, best to get it over with fast. I guess let's just get into it. Iwaizumi fished one of the papers out of the bowl and unfolded it, tugging the ends taut until the crease from being folded was nearly invisible. He read the paper, read it again. One more time. What? Go on, Iwa-chan. Aikawa said, sounding entirely too pleased with himself. What's it say? Stream Ruby tweeted, can Iwaizumi Hajime wear tighter pants PLS? I'm tryna see some for research. Aikawa was already laughing. That couldn't be good. He didn't even know what the little paper said. And all I have to do is read it out loud? I don't understand what the thirst part is. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. I believe in you. The look on Oikawa's face was downright worrying, but Iwaizumi had learned way back that the best way to deal with Oikawa's nonsense was to ignore it. Fine. It says, can Iwaizumi Hajime wear tighter pants PLS? I'm tryna see some for research. Iwaizumi set the piece of paper down on the table behind the fish bowl, out of view of the camera. I don't know what kind of research you're conducting here, but maybe you can do another one where it doesn't involve my choice of jeans. The noise erupting from Oikawa sounded like he'd hacked up a violent laugh, and then ran it through a cheese grater. Iwaizumi steeled himself and reached for another tweet. Give me more gems. Tweeted, Iwaizumi Hajime, 27, athletic trainer smash. Now Iwaizumi was twice as confused. A Hulk reference? Yes. Iwaizumi said before the silence could draw out into something awkward. I suppose I did smash, as you call it. Aikawa, why the hell are you laughing? Because this is the best day of my entire life. The guy working the camera muffled a laugh, too, but not very well. That was sure to get picked up by the mics. Fabulous, this was going to be a long day. Iwaizumi grumbled and grabbed another slip of paper. He didn't want to know he didn't. Bring back my blue-eyed king. Tweeted, I don't think being on my knees gets me low enough to do what I want whenever I see Iwaizumi Hajime. Two thoughts immediately occurred. Oh, Aikawa was right. Iwaizumi was starting to figure it out. Oh, that's why Oikawa was laughing so hard. Then, one more. Iwaizumi glared at Oikawa. You jackass, why would you not warn me about what this is about? Aikawa only laughed harder. There's not even any variety, everyone is talking about something dirty. Iwaizumi muttered, to the camera. I'd appreciate wholesome ones, you know, and maybe talk about how good I am at my job. It's not called thirst tweets for nothing, Iwa. Aikawa said, sounding utterly delighted with Iwaizumi's fresh, enlightened perspective. Iwaizumi aggressively grabbed another tweet from the bowl. The sooner he read through them, the faster it'd be over. The next few went about the same, just vaguely horny thoughts about his biceps and yelling, God, he was going to have a reputation for this. This was how he'd be remembered. For having jacked arms in this awful internet interview, with Oikawa cackling hysterically through the whole thing. IWAOI Fic Exchange tweeted, seeing Iwaizumi Hajime in person has me like HRRNNGG. What in the world is a fic exchange? Aikawa leaned over to look at the paper in Iwaizumi's hands and snorted. Ooh, that's a good one. It's from the shippers. The shippers? Something starry and wicked went a light in Oikawa's eyes. I'll explain later. Out of this whole bizarre day, the only thing Iwaizumi knew for certain was that he absolutely, 100%, did not want Oikawa to explain anything. Go away, Kawa. No, read the tweet. Fuck, how was HRRNNGG even supposed to be pronounced? Seeing Iwaizumi Hajime in person has me like. Iwaizumi the best he could with it, trying and failing to ignore the warmth in his cheeks, trickling down his neck. The flush was probably twice as obvious under the bright studio lights. What does this second one even mean? Am I supposed to say that part, too? Won't you just have to bleep it all, anyway? Iwaizumi reached for another slip, unfolded it, and immediately frowned. Matra Blossom is canon tweeted, Iwaizumi could deadlift me and my entire family and I'd say thank you, sir. He blinked at the words, then let out a long sigh through his nose. That's not how deadlifts work. Aikawa made a choked sound and slapped his knee, as if Iwaizumi had just delivered the joke of the century. Come on, Iwa-chan, don't crush their dreams like that. Maybe you should just say you're welcome and move on. I am not saying that. You sure? Because this one. Aikawa plucked a slip out of the bowl before Iwaizumi could stop him, held it up to his face, and read. Iwaizumi's arms could chokehold me straight into the afterlife and I'd die happy. Aikawa gave an exaggerated sniffle, dabbing at his non-existent tears. I'm so proud of the fans for appreciating true art. Iwaizumi grabbed the tweet out of Oikawa's hands, glared at it, then glared at the fishbowl as if it had personally wronged him. What is with you people and my arms? The crew was outright laughing now, and Oikawa had the audacity to flex his own arm like one of those proud gym bros. Maybe it's a compliment? Have you ever considered that? Of course it's a compliment, but it's also weird. Iwaizumi grumbled, but he was already reaching for another slip at this point. He might as well suffer all at once. He read the next one and then he read it again and then he wished he hadn't. User 0104 tweeted, "Iwaizumi could call me a disappointment and I'd thank him." Oikawa gasped. "Oh, that's a good one." Iwaizumi groaned and dragged a hand down his face. "Why are you acting like we're rating these?" "Because we should be. This one is top tier. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. Iwaizumi was going to strangle him on live camera. What would even make it a 10 out of 10? If it's specifically something freaky like, imagine if it said, "I just know the carpet matches the drapes." Shut the hell up. Iwaizumi threw the slip of paper at Oikawa's face. Oikawa caught it with a grin. "What? That's a free idea for next time." Iwaizumi had to physically shake his head to rid himself of the mental image of whatever unholy nonsense Oikawa was envisioning. Instead, he reached for another tweet and braced himself. And then immediately wished he hadn't. 1999 tweeted, "Iwaizumi looks so clean-cut, I bet Iwaizumi's carpet matches the drapes, yum." Silence, pure, ringing silence. Then, Oikawa shrieked the kind of shriek that could be used in horror movies. He was wheezing so hard, he had to grip the table for support. No way you're making that up." Iwaizumi turned the paper so Oikawa could see it. His hand was already curling into a fist, because if Oikawa kept laughing like that, someone was getting punched. The studio lights suddenly felt twice as hot. "This isn't real," Iwaizumi said, horrified. "This is a setup. I'm being set up. This is divine intervention." Oikawa wheezed. "It's fate." Iwaizumi pressed the bridge of his nose and let out a slow breath. He rolled his eyes and reached for the last slip, the final hurdle. He unfolded it and immediately froze. He knew the Twitter handle. Oikawa hummed. "Well, what does it say?" Iwaizumi inhaled sharply. "Iwa-chan can suplex me into next week and I'd kiss him as a thank you. Actually, no suplex required, I'd still kiss him." Silence. Oikawa blinked, wide-eyed. "Oh yeah, wait, that one's from me. That's my account." Iwaizumi stared at him, then at the slip, then back at Oikawa, who was absolutely not hiding his smug grin well enough. "Why?" Iwaizumi's voice was low, dangerous. Oikawa beamed. "Because you deserve nice things." Off camera, the crew's perpetual giggles tumbled louder and more overt. Iwaizumi glared until the director conceded. "Just one more, please, Iwaizumi-san." Iwaizumi steeled himself and drew one final slip. "At 𝙤𝙬𝙖𝙤𝙬 I'm flexible." Iwaizumi read in a slow, bridge-like tone soaked in despair. The worst part, though, was what was written right below, "Liked by 𝙤𝙬𝙖𝙤𝙬. How could I have liked this? I don't even Twitter." Iwaizumi cocked his head to the side and scowled. "Who's running this?" Oikawa lifted both arms in the air, bunny ear salutes on each hand. "Me." "So you like this tweet?" The proverbial light bulb went off, blinding, horrific, and mortifying. Iwaizumi's gaze swiveled from Oikawa's ecstatic face to the slip of paper in his hand. His attention snagged on the account name. "It's your own fucking account, again." "Toru, we will be discussing this later." "Promise?" "Not like that, idiot." "Fine." Oikawa agreed, too easy. Then he immediately validated Iwaizumi's suspicious instincts. "You're right, I deserve dinner before you start pulling my hair and talking mean to me." Iwaizumi would not dignify the tone with a response. Instead, he turned to the camera and adopted his best no-nonsense, no negotiating voice. "Thank you for your interest. This had been fascinating and, educational." A beat. Iwaizumi exhaled, long and suffering, and turned back to the camera. "And if Oikawa wrote all the autocorrect questions too, I'm going home." Oikawa patted his shoulder. Sure, right after you take me to dinner, since, you know." He gestured at the tweet still in Iwaizumi's hand. "Kisses are on the table." Iwaizumi chucked the entire fishbowl at him.